importance of vocabulary practice in the reading classroom. So I looked at our MAP scores from the fall and the winter, and I noticed that reading and vocabulary was one of our lower scores, so I wanted to try to work on that and get their vocabulary scores up for the spring MAP test. Agendas today is the PowerPoint and then questions if you all have any. Table of contents. The vision statement in my classroom is, in our classroom we will work hard to create a happy and successful learning environment. We will achieve our goals, we will work hard, and we will try our best every day. And my students helped to come up with that. The research article, one of them that I looked at was talking about how reading is the most important skill to master in order to ensure success in learning, and that vocabulary knowledge and its role in reading comprehension has been one of the main areas of focus and research for several years. The article talked about how data that was collected by the different studies showed a significant positive relationship between vocabulary knowledge and reading comprehension, and that the findings in the research suggested that the awareness of vocabulary knowledge to the students, along with making them conscious of their ability, gives them a broader sense of reading comprehension and improves their reading ability. And the second article that I looked at, the National Reading Panel of the Institute of Child Health and Human Development identified vocabulary instruction as an essential skill that students need to improve reading performance. It said that there was a strong evidence to support providing vocabulary instruction, and not only to improve students' reading comprehension and writing quality, but also their listening and speaking vocabulary. There is a strong relationship between vocabulary knowledge and reading comprehension, and that students need to understand the meaning of critical words as they will be reading to help their comprehension. Vocabulary knowledge aids in activating and building background knowledge to make connections, have vocabulary knowledge. Having that vocabulary knowledge can increase their comprehension and their fluency while they're reading. So prior to my interventions, based on the reading MAP scores, out of the 30 students in my class, 2/3 of them had the vocabulary acquisition and use as their lowest score out of the 3 reading topics, which are literature, informational, and vocabulary. So 2/3 of them had that as their lowest. 9 out of 30 were considered novice in reading also. So this was from fall scores. The 2 articles that I looked at discussed how important understanding the vocabulary comprehension, that it improves. If it improves, that more than likely their comprehension, their fluency, and their writing will also improve. So I took those articles to help in deciding that vocabulary was definitely what I needed to focus on. So my classroom scores here, I just show that 9 out of my 30 kids were novice. I had 10 that were apprentice, 7 that were proficient, and then 4 distinguished. So my first intervention, I started a vocabulary station added to our daily 5 routine during reading class. So we already had the daily 5, but vocabulary was not one of the stations that we worked on, so I added that in. And in the station, students are introduced to new vocabulary words that go along with the story and the stories that we're working on. So the data, after 2 weeks of intervention, the students took an assessment showing that they were retaining the vocabulary knowledge that we'd introduced in that station. Then, my modified intervention after the first one, as well as having a vocabulary station, I also worked on vocabulary and context clues at our teacher table station, which is one of the stations we have in Daily 5 already. Students were also instructed to work on vocabulary on Moby Max, which is the computer station for Daily 5. So they were getting 3 different vocabulary stations pretty much.